Hey, what's going on, guys? Motobaggins here. A couple things. I'm checking a different gooseneck mic. I want gooseneck. Gooseneck mic. I want gooseneck mic. Kept popping and stuff like that. So I'm gonna change that out and see if that does anything. But it's a beautiful day. I got a day off of work, so I'm gonna do a nice little ride. I was trying to think about a topic for a video, and I was just thinking of maybe do a video on things that I like about the Kawasaki Vulcan 650S, and maybe some dislikes that I have about it. I guess I'll start with the dislikes. One of the dislikes that I have is the stock headlight. It's a halogen, and it has like that heart shape or acorn shape, which is really cool, but I switched mine out. I do a lot of commute in the mornings and at night, so I needed to see better. I did do the route of changing the bulb to an LED, which did help, but it just wasn't enough. And the good thing is you can get DOT approved headlights for pretty cheap. I think I got this one for like, I don't know, like 60, 65 bucks, you know, installed it. It wasn't that hard. It is plug and play, except the only thing that I had to wire in was the daytime running lights. So in other words, the stock headlight didn't like that much. The seat was uncomfortable. I did put like 2,000 miles on the seat before I wanted to switch it out. I do have a Corbin seat on. I got that off of eBay actually for pretty cheap. I think I got for like 300 and 350 bucks, and it's like the black and brown two-tone, which at the time I bought it, I was like, you know what, I'm not really crazy about it, but I'm actually kind of glad that it is a two-tone, because I think it looks pretty nice on the bike. The Corbin seat is wider on the behinds. It's wider, gives you more support, and it's also wider near the thighs. The stock seat, from what I can remember, is kind of narrow, which is not a bad thing, but you just don't have that support. So after a ride, you kind of start getting like the pin needle feeling on your behind. You kind of get a little bit uncomfortable, kind of a little bit stir crazy. So I opted to get the Corbin seat. Some people love them, some people hate them. I actually enjoy it. It's definitely an improvement. I know that there's another company called Mustang seats, and they're definitely cheaper than straight up a Corbin. I think a Corbin's like 600, 650 bucks plus weight. The Mustang seats, I think, are like 400 or something like that. I don't think they're a relatively new company. I just think that they started producing seats for this bike relatively new. Like, started producing them, and a couple of people on the Facebook group for the Vulcan group got them and said that's a big improvement. It's a lot squarer looking. Kind of looks like a lawn tractor seat, like just kind of blocky and rectangular, which I'm sure gives a lot of support. The other things that I didn't like about this bike will be like storage, but obviously it's a sport cruiser, so that's just an add-on, so that's not really a defect of the bike. But I guess what I'd say about the storage is you can go the Viking bags route, you can go the shad bag route, or you can go the Jabibi bag route. If you're on a budget, Viking bags are good. It's just you got to change out the hardware, because it's not great that they provide, and it's not the right length. And you got to drill a couple holes in the bags and make it work yourself. So if you're cool with that, go for it. I opted for shad bags because I like the idea of the brackets for the saddlebags just being bolt on with the OEM stuff, you know, I didn't really have to cut anything. There are the bolt covers for the rear fender that you could, they give you a, not a diagram, but a form or whatever to drill that hole so you can put the bolts through it. But I opted to keep that stock. I didn't want to, you know, drill through that just in case I've ever sold the bike, or I don't really care about it aesthetically. It doesn't bother me. But people that are looking for that cleaner look will definitely probably opt to do that. I mean, all the other stuff I added onto the bike was just because I wanted to. There wasn't like a need or a necessity. So this bike is marketed as a sports cruiser, and this has like a 3.7 gallon tank. I kind of wish the gas tank was bigger. You know, maybe like a 4.5 gallon tank. That'd be really nice. I've done a few motorcycle trips down to Florida on this thing, like 2,400 miles, and down to Tennessee and North Carolina. That's about 12 or 1,400 miles round trip, give or take. The Florida was 2,400 miles round trip, give or take. And I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just I never had any problems about finding gas stations or anything like that. It was just I think what my range I've been getting on this is like 48.2 miles to the gallon, but that's also 16,177 mile average out of that. So say 46 miles to the gallon, right, with your gear and weight. But I mean, I'm getting 48. So you're looking at, say you round up 50 just for the heck of it, 50, 100, 150, about 150 to 170 miles per tank. Which is not terrible. It's not terrible at all. But when you're on the road, like I always stop every 100, 120 miles, one to fill up, and two just to kind of give me a rest. But honestly, I mean, that's about it. Everything else I added on I wanted to, or I needed it. You know, I had my Barkbuster handguards. Those come off and on real easy. I usually put those on in the fall just to keep the cold off of my hands. But I took them off because it's been pretty hot here lately, and I got these holes in my gloves. And those are nice, but when I had the handguards, I wasn't getting any wind in my hands, so my hands would just start sweating. Things I do like about this bike, I guess I should probably do that, is the power is plenty. It's a 650. It's the same engine as in Ninja 650. And I drove a 450 is my first bike. And I drove a Suzuki GS 1400 GSLB. It's like a 2008, 2009, something like that, early 2000s, we can say. And that had some oomph to it. It was a heavier bike than this, but this has plenty of. Yeah, you know, I've been on the freeway. It goes 0 to 60 to 80 to 90 real easy. There's no big issues. Like, it's not, it doesn't have any problems at all. And I never found an issue of getting around like tractor trailers or trucks or cars or speeding up or anything like that. So that's what I like about this bike. It's smaller, it's slower, it has that good center of gravity, it handles really well. It's a good bike for a beginner, but it's also fun enough if you're an experienced rider. And in the future, I do plan on getting other motorcycles. Like, I just don't want to have one. Ideally, I'd like to have like 2 or 3. I'd like to have like a Suzuki ETRZ 450, 400. I can't remember which one it is, but I want one of those. And then I would like to get like a Honda CB 500X or an NC 750, something like that. A little bit of ADV, have a little bit of a bigger gas tank, something a little bit set up more suspension wise for traveling and doing trips. But this bike has been great. I haven't had any issues with it, thankfully, and I'm sure that could probably change. But you know, this thing has performed flawlessly. I've kept up on, you know, chain maintenance, tires, stuff like that, oil changes. Now this winter, since I'm at 16,000, I will be getting the valves checked and adjusted and stuff like that. And while the bike, you know, while the gas tank and all that is off the bike, I'm definitely going to send out the ECU to get it flashed, just for the exhaust and all that. I might think about obviously changing the air filters as well, since you know, while everything's up, you might as well. But yeah, so right now I'm just kind of going for a little ride. Nothing too crazy. I did find a nail in my rear tire, which I'm not too thrilled about. But thankfully this month I'm getting new tires, front and rear, put on the bike anyway. So I'm thankful that it wasn't my new tires. I'd be a little bit more upset about it. But so I'm just kind of taking loops around, you know, not going crazy far. I'm also trying to wear gear that way, you know, and unfortunately if it does pop or burst or whatever, I'm kind of protected on that. But yeah, so these are some things I like and dislike about the bike. I don't know specifics to 100%. I don't know the weight and the torque and all that. I mean, you can look it up. I'm not gonna post that there. I mean, I feel like if you're watching this video at this point, you've already been considering the bike. But it's a great bike. I like everything about it. It does what it says. It's sporty. It has, since it's so light, and I don't think it's a crazy engine, like 650 cc's is nothing crazy. But it gets going. I'll try to show you what I mean up here. It should be a straight stretch. There's a car in front of me though. Well, never mind. Anyway, I'm actually just gonna do this short video. I'm gonna go ride and enjoy my day. I don't want to think about talking to a camera. So you guys ride safe, be safe, you know, and just yeah, keep the two wheels down and have a good day.